how you can prepare for good top product-based companies. And we are actually focusing on Amazon first, because in a couple of days you have internship interviews lined up. So I'll be explaining all the points which you should cover for Amazon or similar product-based companies. And related to Amazon, there is another concept called leadership principles. So I'll be focusing on that also. So this webinar is for all the engineering students and the graduates, and whose interviews are lined up for internship or SD1 positions, which you might try after your BTech. So just a couple of points. This video will be, it's already uploaded on the YouTube channel. So you don't have to note it down. I'll be sharing all the PPT slides and the links with you all. Okay, so you just listen to this webinar carefully, and you will get the recording as well as the slides. So when we talk about Amazon, right, it focuses on few key points. They will check your data structure and algorithm skills, coding skills. Any language is fine. You can choose any language, let it be C, C++, Java, Python, any language. But I'll recommend you select an object-oriented programming language where hash map and hash set are provided. If you choose C, then you will have to implement on your own, and that will consume a lot of time. So if you are unsure about in which language you will be answering the interview questions, I will suggest you choose Java or Python, because Amazon, most of the teams at Amazon work on Java technologies. Then the complexity analysis you should be quite thorough with. Only the most optimal solutions will be accepted. And Amazon big time focuses on the leadership principles. So we will be discussing all these points, and at the end we will discuss the leadership points as well. Okay, so for any building, foundation is must. If you talk about algorithms, then data structure is the foundation for algorithms. So you should be quite thorough with the basic data structures, and then only you can build on top of it. So these are the list of 21 problems. Okay, so this will build your data structure fundamentals quite strong. So for preparing any data structure, the format followed should be this. You should be able to build that data structure, and you should be able to traverse that data structure. What do you mean by traversing it? Just like printing the numbers. So we will pick up one data structure, we will traverse it, and then we will solve one problem on that data structure. That will make a complete building block for your algorithm subject. So this is the programming workshop which I generally conduct. Okay, so you don't have to have any fancy editors for this. There are many online portals which serve as an editor nowadays. So since you have just couple of days for interviews, you don't have to set up anything. Just go to some online portal which allows you to write Java program or Python program, and you should be able to run them on that portal itself. So you just start with Hello World. You should be able to write a simple Hello World program and try to execute it. Once you are able to execute the Hello World, that's it. You are done. You will be able to solve the next level of problems. After that, you should know the functions and the methods. Okay, generally in C word, we call that as function, but when we go to Java or Python, we call them as methods. So I'll refer them as methods from here onwards. So you should know what kind of method declaration you should write for that particular problem. What is pass by value, what is pass by reference, and what should be your return type. Because in the interview, you will be writing only the method for solving that particular problem. Nobody will ask you to write right from hash include or main method. Only you need to write the method which will solve that problem. So the input and the output of the method, it should be very clear to you. Okay, after that we'll jump to the data structures. Write a simple array program and try to traverse it. Traverse it means just print all the array elements inside a method. Okay, now that method doesn't return anything. It's a void method, and you should print all the array elements. After that, you should solve a problem on the array concept. which is sum of all the array elements. Again, quite a basic problem. I know these are actually quite basic problems. So most of the computer science people might have already done these problems, but this is a basic building block, and this is how you start the data structures and algorithm subject. So you write a method which will sum all the array elements, and you will return the integer, which is the summation of those array elements. So you will be writing a method which is like int sum of array elements, and what parameters it will accept is the array, and then you will be writing the logic. Then most of the array problems can be solved if the array is sorted. So generally, to work on sorted array, we use binary search or the modified binary search. So you try to write a simple binary search on the sorted array. Once you are comfortable on that, you try to solve an array problem on the LeetCode platform. So LeetCode is a very good platform where you can actually execute all the test cases which you will not have even thought about. All the test cases, edge cases it will run. So you try to write a method for that particular solution on the LeetCode platform. And this is how your interview problems will be answered in the method format. Okay, so this is the building block for arrays. Now you can move to the strings. For strings, you can write string problem with some library functions like calculating length of the string. So strlen function you can use. Then write a program which will find out, given two strings, let's say S1 and S2 are given to you, you will be finding out if those strings are anagrams of each other or not. This completes your strings chapter. Then move to the 2D arrays, which is a matrix. Write a basic matrix program and traverse it. And next is, if your matrix is sorted row wise and column wise, you need to find a given number. So for that, there is a very good algorithm, which I'll discuss in the subsequent slides. So this completes your matrix. Now move on to the linked lists. Write a basic linked list and traverse it. Write a method to get the nth node from the end of the linked list. This will actually give you a very good flavor on the linked list topic. Similarly, you will be writing trees problems. So you write the basic binary tree problem and just traverse it in the in-order, pre-order, and post-order format using recursion. Then you solve a problem with binary tree in a method to write it as a level order sorting. So level order traversal. So that will complete your binary tree. Similarly, write binary search tree and try to find an given element in the binary search tree. Similarly, go for graph problem, write a basic graph problem and write a topological sort on that problem. Next advanced level is dictionaries or tries. You should be very thorough with tries because Amazon, at least one problem will be based on tries. So you write a simple try where you will insert a string and you will get that string out of that dictionary. And hash map and hash sets are quite important topics for Amazon. So once you finish all these 21 problems, your foundation will be pretty strong. Now you can solve any problem regarding any data structure because you know how to receive the values, how to return the values. Only what will change is only the logic. Okay, so generally I conduct this workshop, and if your college or anybody who is viewing this, if they are interested, you can contact me on this email ID. Okay, now let's jump. Once your basic is done, now let's jump to the interview patterns and the questions and how you will tackle the interview problem. So always you will be asked one question and you will have to write a method to solve that problem, as I told you earlier, right? So for example, the interviewer asks the question, return the list of elements in the left view of a binary tree. Okay, to see this problem, it looks quite familiar. Many of you might have done this problem, but again, there are a lot of unknowns. So tip number one, never jump to the solution straight away. Always ask few clarifying questions. Even if the problem statement looks quite concrete, but here you will have to answer, you have to ask the interviewer what kind of list you are expecting. Are you expecting array list or linked list? Right? This is the first clarification which you should ask to the interviewer. Second is, what sort of elements does the BT contain? Right? So BT node is generally has the data field, left subtree pointer and the right subtree pointer. So now that data field might contain integer, float, character, strings, anything it can contain, right? So it was not given whether it contains integer or not. So generally integer is the easiest way to work when we talk about binary trees or linked lists. Then you should ask, okay, what sort of elements does the BT contain? Can I take them as integers? Okay, so 90% of the time the interviewer will say, okay, you can use integer. So you are actually diverting into your comfort zone to the interviewer. Okay, next is, just don't assume the things, always clarify whatever the question is. Ask some clarifying questions. It indicates your curiosity and your perfectionness to solve that problem. The first thing is, see, Amazon always expects the brute force, the optimized solutions always. They won't like if it is just a brute force approach, because the complexity in the brute force approach will be quite high. So even if you know the solution, even if you know the most optimal solution, don't jump to the most optimal solution straight away. First, you should tell the brute force approach and the issues with the complexities. For example, if I ask you, sort an array of integers. Okay, so the first thing which comes to your mind is, take two for loops, use bubble sort, and your array is sorted, right? But this is a brute force approach, because the complexity of this problem is order of n squared. So you will not be getting any marks if you just write a bubble sort in Amazon. So you should discuss the most optimal solution with the interviewer first, and once he gives a go ahead, then only you start writing the code. So in terms of array sorting, I told my brute force approach first, but I also told the complexity is n squared. So this is not the optimal solution. What comes to my mind is quick sort, because the average case complexity of quick sort is order of n log n. So this is definitely a better time complexity solution than my brute force approach. So so you can ask the interviewer, can I solve this problem using quick sort method? Once you get the go ahead from him, then only you start writing the code. Again, while writing the code, as I told you, you will have to write only the function, okay, only the method you will have to write. But again, before writing that, you will have to write the node structure which you are using. For example, here, class BT node, the node which I am using for the binary tree. See, it contains three fields. It contains data field, left pointer, right pointer. Somebody might call that data field as data. Somebody might call is as val. Okay. Somebody might call it as some value, right? So there are different conventions one individual can use. So you should tell, okay, this is my BT node, which will look like this. It will have integer data, BT node left, BT node right. Now in your solution, you will be using these terminologies. So this is this snapshot at the bottom is actually a solution part. Here I have written a method declaration. Okay. So make sure you give your method name a proper camel case name, where beginning is with small letter and the subsequent letters which indicate a word will be in the capital format. So L is small, V and B, T are capital. So this is the name of the method. Make sure you give a good name so that your naming convention is good. What it will receive? It will receive root of the binary tree, right? So I am writing BT node root, and I am asked to return the list of elements. So I have written that it will return list of integers. Okay. while writing the solution, you will be declaring that answers in the nodes. So list of integers nodes is equal to new array list. And we clarified beforehand that I'll be writing them as an array list. So we have got go ahead for array list, and that's why you will be writing the nodes value as array list. And then it will be followed up by the logic, and then at the end you will return the answer which is stored in the nodes. So make sure the higher level of interface will be written here, okay? And the array list is actually implementation of list. So it will be written on the right hand side. And when you return something, again, it will be the interface of that particular return type. So you should make sure you follow this logic, and always make sure there should be minimum burden on your main function. See, main function will only say, okay, I just want list of nodes. Here is the root node, and I'm just expecting list of nodes. So main method will expect list of nodes and just give you root of the node. So all the other activities should be written inside your method. For example, for calculating left view of binary tree, you will have to calculate height of the tree, and then you will be traversing height wise, level wise, and when first node you encounter in that particular level, you will store them in the list of nodes, right? So function to calculate height of the linked list and traversing, I'll be writing them inside my method, inside my solution method. So always make sure you have very less burden on your main method. While writing the code, just don't keep mum, keep explaining, otherwise it will be just a monologue. So make sure you are always explaining whatever you are writing. And after writing the code, before handing over to the interviewer, okay, I'm done, make sure it is actually very correct. Amazon focuses on correctness, syntax wise, format wise, and your solution should be very, very correct. You should cover all the boundary and edge cases. For example, here, see, if let's say what is boundary condition or edge cases, right? See, if root itself is null, then is there any point in going to your logic? No, because if root is null, I'll be returning the empty list. So here itself, the first line should be, if root is null, then return the empty list. So that will actually cover your boundary cases also. So make sure you are covering all the boundary cases. You should dry run your algorithm. Whatever solution you have written, you should make a dry run on it. Take some example values and try to go through your code over those values. If it is actually executing correct, then only you will be handing over your solution to the interviewer. While handing over, you should also explain the time and space complexity. This is very important. If you are not thorough with time and space complexities, you will lose a lot of marks. So make sure you are thorough with time and space complexities as well. Okay, if there are any doubts, we can take, otherwise we can take at the end as well. Okay, so you don't have to take these snapshots or something. I'll be sharing the slides and the video presentation. So see, these are the topics which Amazon focuses on. This starts from arrays, your 1D arrays and 2D arrays. There will be at least one question out of your 3 to 4 rounds on arrays. You should be thorough with sorting algorithms. Since you have very less time, don't focus on many algorithms. Just do these 3 sorting algorithms: quick sort, topological sort, and heap sort. Then strings is again a very important topic. Then linked list, and then trees. We have binary trees and binary search trees. In the graph traversal, BFS and DFS, I'm 100% sure all of you will encounter a problem on either DFS or BFS. So you should be very thorough with DFS and BFS and their complexities. Dynamic programming problems, I'm not very sure for internship candidates, will they ask or not, but it is always better to do some basic dynamic programming problems. Okay, so now I have come up with a list of problems. These are like 46 problems. If you do all these 46 problems, I'm pretty sure with 100% guarantee you can clear Amazon interview. Okay, so just listen very carefully. All these 46 problems. When the interviews are scheduled in the next week?
Yes, sir. In the next week.
Yeah, next week. When is what's the day? Like it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. When is it?
Sir, we have not yet exactly received the date.
Okay, fine. So you still have weekend. 46 problems, 1 hour for each problem, and in 46 hours you can clear Amazon. Okay, so very important list of problems. Since you have very less amount of time left, if you haven't done anything, just do these 46 problems, and if you are already thorough with all these problems, then you can go ahead with the next set of problems which I'll be telling you. So we will deep dive in all these subtopics and find out what are the important problems on those topics. Okay, first is arrays. I'm pretty sure out of 3 to 4 rounds, 1 or 2 questions will be on arrays, either 1D arrays or 2D arrays. So first question is determine if the sum of two integers is equal to the given value. So array is given, it's not sorted, it's just randomly placed. And you are given a sum, you should find out if two integers sum to that particular value or not. Okay, so the most optimal approach for this is you sort the array, then you take the left pointer and the right pointer. If the left pointers and right pointers sum is lesser, you increase the left pointer. If the sum is higher, you reduce the right pointer. And you repeat this activity till you find either the sum or they cross each other. If they cross each other, means there doesn't exist two numbers which will sum to that particular given number. Okay, and inside this again sorting, right? So interviewer might ask, okay, write the sorting algorithm also. So you should write quick sort in that case. Next is search in a rotated sorted array. This is a variation of a binary tree. You should definitely know this. Next is kth smallest or largest element in the array. So this problem can be best solved with the heap sort. So make sure you study heap sort and do this problem. This is very popular problem at Amazon. Next one is given an array, whether sub array contains the sum which goes to 0. Okay, you should know what is sub array. Sub array is actually contiguous members of the array and they should sum to 0. So array is like positive numbers, negative numbers, and sub array whether it sums to 0 or not. Next problem is fifth problem, segregate zeros, ones and twos in the array. So array is given, it only has zeros, ones and twos randomly placed. You will have to segregate all zeros first, then ones and then twos. Basically it is sorting, but this is called as the flag segregation problem. It has a typical algorithm which runs in order of n, not in order of n squared or n log n. Just order of n, you will be able to sort this. So make sure you solve this problem. Next problem is the train timings are given, in time and out times are given. You need to find out minimum number of platforms which will be required to accommodate all the trains. Again, a very standard problem. Next one is all-time favorite of all the interviewers in all the product-based companies. Stocks prices are given across the days. You need to maximize the profit in a single buy and single purchase. The variation of this problem is multiple buys and multiple sale days in a particular window. So you should definitely do this problem. Next one is largest subarray containing max sum. So this is max sum array problem. Next one is find an element in a row wise and column wise sorted array. So there is a 2D array which is a matrix. It is sorted row wise also and column wise also. So to begin with, we might think, okay, what is brute force approach for this? Brute force approach will be just traverse the matrix row wise and column wise till you find that number, right? This is actually like order of m into n complexity, right? So this is brute force approach. Next one you could think of is binary search. You apply binary search column wise and then row wise. That is also one possible solution. But the most optimal one is the one where pointer starts from the right column of the right extreme column, okay, right extreme top, and then you will traverse down or left, because at every position you will have only two options, whether to go down if the number is increasing or go to the left where number is decreasing. So with that, you can just solve this problem in order of m plus n. Okay, earlier it was order of m into n complexity. Here it is just order of m plus n. Next problem is in place rotation of a matrix. So you might have seen the image rotation problem, right? When we rotate any image, it actually immediately flips by 90 degrees, 180 degrees. So you will have to write problem which will do that in place. So these are all very good array problems. Next, let's move to strings. As such, in strings, there are not many problems, but when we track other mechanisms like backtracking, the problems actually become complex. So this is again very famous problem. Print all the permutations of a given string. Let's say ABC is the string given. You need to print all the permutations. So there will be 8 permutations, 2 to the power length of the string, 8 permutations. So like ABC, ACB, BAC, BCA, that sort of. So this problem can be solved using backtracking mechanism. Next one is similar of that similar concept of backtracking, printing all the valid parentheses. So you are given an n, okay, let's say n is equal to 2. You need to print all the valid parentheses of that number. So let's say n is equal to 2. So valid combinations are like opening, closing, opening, closing. This is one valid combination. Another is 2 openings and 2 closings. This is also balanced expression. So this is valid parenthesis problem. Third one is string compression problem. Again, very real world problem. When you compress something, let's say let it be video file or audio file, you compress, right, using some softwares. How do they work? So you are given a string, let's say A, B, 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 D, D. This is a string and you need to compress it. So you will be writing a character and the number of occurrences of that character. So here A appears 3 times, B appears 4 times, and D appears 2 times. So now if you see, the memory occupied of the compressed string is lesser than the original format, right? But the opposite case now, let's say string is ABC. If you try to approach the problem with the same concept like A1, B1, C1, what it will do, it will actually increase the size. So you should write your algorithm. If the size is going to increase, keep the original string as it is. Otherwise, if it is going to compress, then compress that as per the given condition. Next one is, given 2 strings, find out if they are anagrams of each other. Let's say string 1 is given as ABC, string 2 is given as BAC. What are anagrams? Anagrams are those which actually differ, which do not differ in number of characters or the occurrences of number of characters, right? So ABC, BAC, these are anagrams of each other. Next one is removing spaces from a line. So line is given, there could be one space or multiple spaces. You need to reorganize that line so that only one space will be left. So if you would have used LaTeX for your thesis writing or resume writing, you might have seen that it doesn't allow any extra spaces, right? So it uses that algorithm. So those kind of problems will be asked at Amazon. Next topic is linked lists. Again, quite standard problems on linked list. First is detect a loop in the single linked list. So this problem can be solved using 2 pointers. One goes in the slow mode and another goes into the faster mode. Slow pointer moves 1 node at a time. Faster pointer moves 2 nodes at a time. And if there is a loop, they will eventually meet at a same point. So this is how you detect a loop in the single linked list. Next one is finding out middle of linked list. See again, let's say if it would have been a brute force approach. So how you would have found out the middle of the linked list? You would have traversed first to end of the linked list and would have counted the number of nodes in your linked list. Let's say there are 11 nodes. Then you would have traversed second time to reach to the sixth node, that is the middle of the linked list, right? But in this case, you need to do this in a single pass. So you will be writing two pointers, slow pointer and fast pointer, again at the same concept. Slow pointer moves one node at a time, fast pointer moves two nodes at one time. And when fast pointer actually is at the end of the linked list, the slow pointer would be in the middle of the linked list. So this is how you return the middle of the linked list in just one pass. Similarly, getting the nth node from the end of linked list. Again, on the same concept. Next very popular problem is reversing a linked list in a single pass. Okay, so all the pointers which are there in the single linked list, you will be reversing them as you move forward. This problem can be solved using 3 pointers: previous, current, and next pointer. Next problem is the variation of that reversing a linked list. You will be reversing the linked list in a group of k, and k will be given, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10 is your linked list, and k is equal to 2. It means 1 and 2 needs to be swapped, 3 and 4 needs to be swapped. So at the end of your solution, your linked list will look like this: 2, 1, 4, 3, 6, 5, like that. The next problem is find out the intersection of two linked lists. So linked list 1 is given, linked list 2 is given, the head pointers are given, and you are asked to find out if they intersect each other or not. Next problem is given two numbers represented in the linked list, and you need to add those two numbers. Again, quite a real world problem. See, when you go to the YouTube views, so YouTube would have a number of hits for that particular video, let's say in billions, and let's say that cannot be stored in long integer also. So what will you do? You will be storing those numbers in the linked lists, right? So same way, if the number is represented in the linked list, you should be able to perform the addition and store the resultant in the third linked list. Next one, very popular problem: clone a linked list with random pointer. So generally linked list node will be like this, right? It will have value and the next pointer. But this particular linked list has two pointers now. One is value field, one is next field, and third is random, which points to any random node in the linked list. So you are asked to clone this linked list. All these problems are pretty standard. If you just Google them with these names, you will find the solutions. So you don't have to worry much about the solutions. Okay. Next one is delete a given node when start of the linked list is unknown. So generally in all the linked list problems, we get the head node, right? But here head is not given, only a given node is given, and you are required to delete that. How will you do that? Right? It's actually simple. You are given a node, so you know all the nodes after that particular point, right? Because you can just go next, but you cannot go back because it's a single linked list. So you will copy the value of the next node into the current node, and you will delete the next node, and you will attach the next pointer to the next pointer, right? So this will give you the illusion that given node is actually deleted, because that value will not exist when you traverse the next time, right? So these were all linked list problems. Now let's move to the binary trees. In the basic problems, we had done actually pre-order, in-order, and post-order, right? But at Amazon, you will be expected to write level order, spiral order traversal, vertical order traversal, and boundary traversal. Make sure you are thorough with all these traversals. Then very important problems: views of binary tree: left view, right view, top view, and bottom view. I'm pretty sure out of these 2 points, at least 50% of you will find one or two problems from these 2 points in binary trees. Next is convert a binary tree into its mirror tree. It's quite easy. Left pointer, right pointer, you will have to swap. Next is given two trees, you need to find whether they are identical of each other or mirrors of each other. This can be solved using recursion. It's again a very easy problem. Next one, very important problem, n distance nodes from a given node. Okay, the tree is given and you are given some node. You need to print all the nodes which are at n distance from that given node. So now this looks actually easier. Okay, one node is given, you will just go n levels down and you will print the elements, but it is not that easy. If the given node is just below the root node, let's say, and n is 3, it means all the nodes which are 3 level down and 3 level up as well. When we say up, we will have to go to the right side of the node because root has come in between, but the nodes which are on the right hand side are actually 3 distance apart from that node, right? So that in that case you need to print all those nodes. So this is again very important problem. Make sure first, second and fifth you are actually doing these problems to itself. Next one is binary search tree. There are not many problems in binary search tree. It's just finding out the least common ancestor, given a BT, whether it is BST or not, because BST has a property that left side will be smaller than the roots value and right side will be higher than the roots value, right? So again, a standard problem. And next one is sorted array is given and you need to convert that into the binary search tree. Next is next one about the graph problems. Okay, again, this first actually in graph, these all 4 points are all 4 problems are quite important. First is, see, matrix is given zeros and ones. 1 indicate land and 0 indicates water. So how many islands are there? Again, a standard with DFS, you can solve this problem. Next problem is rotting oranges problem. So matrix is given, 1 indicates good oranges, 2 indicates rotten oranges, and 3 indicates, let's say, null. It means just void. Let's say 0, 1, 2. So 1 rotten orange can make other oranges rotten if they are adjacent to each to that rotten orange. Okay, so let's say in one day it can rotten all the adjacent rotten oranges. So how many days it will take to make all the oranges rotten? So again, very good problem. And this on a given condition, like in a COVID situation, anybody can tweak this problem and ask. For example, they can say, okay, you are staying in a great apartment and one family has been affected, and within 15 days, the adjacent house also gets affected. So after how many days this particular house will get affected, or all houses will get affected, or some house will not get affected at all? If there are like spaces in between, they will not get affected. So very relevant and very running problem. Third one is topological sort. Generally, these sort problems are the solution of the problems are given in terms of topological sort when there is a condition A depends on B, B depends on C, C depends on D. So like like work completion problems, or let's say A infects B, B infects C. So that kind of problem can be solved using topological sort. Next one is, as I told, the try data structure, the dictionary problem, insert and searching the elements in the dictionary. Again, very important problem. These are dynamic programming problems. If you are overwhelmed with all other problems, all the other topics, and if you don't have time, then I will say, okay, you can skip dynamic programming, because for internship, like there is only 20% chance that you will face a dynamic programming problem question. But you have time. If you have time, definitely you should do at least these 4 problems. So first is longest increase in subsequence in the array, coin change problem, pretty standard in dynamic programming. Factorial using memory
memoization technique. This memoization technique is very good, which stores the result of intermediate
operations in variable and reuse those results.
And last one is the
Minimum edit distance.
So you are given two strings, first and second, and there are edit distance. For example, if you insert some character, delete some character, or replace some character, these are all called as edit distance. So you should tell that after how
many edit distance you can achieve that string.
Again, a dynamic
programming standard problem. There are few problems
on stacks and queues also.
The ones which I have indicated in orange, if you have time, you can do them.
Otherwise, just skip to the third one. Given an equation,
Find out if it has valid braces.
So you are given a mathematical equation which has round brackets, curly braces, square brackets, and you need to find if those are balanced or not,
whether it is valid expression or not.
And if you have time, then you can also do this.
Create a queue using two stacks
or create
stack using queues. Those kind of problems. Okay, somebody said it's breaking a bit. Is it for everybody? Someone can just unmute and tell me. Okay, no sir, fine. Fine. Okay, so these were all very important problems, and next set of problems. Design a least recently used cache. So this is like design a data structure which will act as a LRU cache. So you will have to write the insert, delete, and access. These three methods you need to write in this particular algorithm. Very good problem, quite frequently asked. The next one is design a data structure where insert, delete, and find can be done in just order of one. So when you, let's say any data structure, right? If let's say it is queues, let's say it is stack. If you want to insert, okay, insert can be done in order of one, right? Because you will just be inserting that element on the top of the existing stack. This is order of one. Can you remove an element in order of one in the stack? No. Because the element which is at the bottom of the stack. So you need to remove all the elements and then you need to delete that. So it is not order of one. So this is very good problem where you have to come up with a data structure where all those operations are in order of one. So make sure you are thorough with hash maps. Next one is again, if you have time, you do that. Otherwise, you can skip. But if you have time, definitely you should do this. See, there are two threads given. This is particularly multi-threading problem. Two threads are given. One thread prints all the odd numbers. Another prints only the even numbers. And you need to write down a program which will actually print all the numbers in sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say up to 100, right? So this has to take care of the synchronization in those two threads. This is Java multi-threading problem. And you should must do hash maps and hash sets. If you haven't done this, like do hash map and hash sets as early as possible. Amazon loves hash maps. If you tell the interviewer, okay, this can be solved using hash map, okay, done, your 50% of the interview is done. Okay, so along with this, see, all these were technical stuff. If you know these technical things, then you can solve the problem. So make sure you are actually telling the brute force approach, then come up with the most optimal one and then discuss. Okay, these are all technical stuff. But Amazon big time focuses on Amazon leadership principles. Every technical interview will start with this. Okay, tell me about yourself. That will be the first question in the interview. And the interview will end with this question. Do you have any questions for me? These are the two questions where you can show the leadership principles which Amazon looks for in the interview candidates. Even if you are going for internship position or SD1 positions after you graduate, in all, everybody will ask you the leadership principles. So there are around 14 leadership principles which Amazon looks for in the candidates. I'll be explaining all the leadership principles and what kind of solutions, what kind of answers you for those particular leadership principles. Okay, so if I can't see the chat, if there are any questions, we can take them. Otherwise, I'll just have a sip of water and I'll come back. Okay. Yeah, any questions? Okay, so let's start. The first Amazon leadership principle is customer obsession. Amazon believes in customer obsession. Customer obsession is short form of love for customers. They always keep the customers at forefront of any and each and every decision they take. You might have observed that returning some product on Amazon and getting the refund is much easier than Flipkart or Snapdeal or any other websites, right? Because Amazon actually focuses a lot on the customer satisfaction. So as an employee, you should be also obsessed with the customer. You should always think about your customers, and then only you make a good Amazon employee. Okay, so these all leadership principles, you will see all the interviewers will be asked to evaluate the interviewer based on few leadership principles. Okay, those interviewers will not say, okay, I am evaluating you on these leadership principles. No, while general talking, they will figure out, okay, this matches to this leadership principle, and they will note it down. So while answering, I am giving you a very good liners, good throwaway lines, which you can use in your interview, and you can actually indirectly communicate, okay, I am talking about this leadership principle. So interviewers will be quite smart. You don't have to actually tell them what principle you are talking about. They will immediately figure out and note it down. So see, for showing these leadership principles, you need to tell, okay, when I did my internship, or let's say you developed any website for your college technical or cultural event, then you should tell, okay, I always think about the users or the students which will be using my website. I will make them feel engaged on my website. This is how I design my product. This is how I had designed my website in my college time. This is how I use the animations so that engagement on my website is higher and students feel quite easy to use, and they actually praised me for that particular website. Or let's say if you did some internship, then just tell them, okay, I actually focused on designing the things which will make my users life much easier. So this kind of liners you can throw so that they will come to know, okay, you are actually customer obsessed. So you should always say, okay, I consider the users as my first priority while developing or designing anything, right? So next principle is ownership. Amazon loves people who take ownership of the uh, program, project, or any activity at Amazon. So you should indirectly tell, okay, I took the ownership of my group project, and I was kind of leader of my group project or the term project, and make them realize, okay, I own big pieces in the project. Just don't say, okay, I did some documentation on that project. No, that is not owning a big thing. You should say, okay, I own complete backend of my project. That is like ownership. And you should use this term, I owned. Okay, once you use this term, he will immediately recognize, okay, this is ownership leadership principle and I'm noting down this. So if you have contributed to some open source project or some freelancing project, you should definitely tell this in the interview. Next leadership principle is invent and simplify. Okay, any company would like its employees to invent something and to simplify something. So you should tell, okay, uh, there was some problem in my assignment or project and it was quite complex. So I invented a simpler way of doing it. I wrote some scripts. I wrote some bash scripts, Python scripts to simplify the thing, and it actually solved my problem. These are the things which you can talk about. Invent and simplify. Next one is learn and be curious. Obviously, any company would like its employees to be enthusiastic about learning and they are curious about their product or project, right? So just during the conversations, when you brief about yourself or at the end, when they ask you to ask some questions, you can just randomly say, okay, I am quite curious about technological things and I like to read some tech magazines. I like to study courses on Udemy. Okay, but make sure if you are going to tell, okay, I read tech magazines, you should know what kind of tech magazines are out there in the market, right? So if you might have seen the UPSC interview of Ansar Sheikh, he was the youngest IPS officer at the age of 21. He cleared UPSC, and his hobby he had written was his favorite hobby was watching movies. Okay, and he was quite pretty sure that there will be a lot of questions on this hobby. So the extent to which he had prepared was, okay, if I like movies, what genre I like, what are different movies which are popular in that particular genre, in the selected genre, which is best movie, who is my favorite actor, what awards he had received, who is the favorite actress, what awards she had received, where she hails from, who is the director of that movie, what are the different movies directed by the director. Okay, all this is like a complete preparation plan on the things which you are writing in your resume. The same thing, if you are going to tell, okay, I like to read tech magazines, you should know what tech magazines are there, what kind of stuff it has, what is the latest news which you had read. Okay, that will show your curiousness. You tell that you keep exploring the tech stacks and you would be interested in becoming a full stack developer, so that you know the backend stuff, front end stuff, the database stuff, the CI/CD, the continuous integration and continuous deployment. All those things you should be able to talk about. And then you can say, okay, I keep doing projects. I have done so many projects. And the uh, hint is, ते कोणी तुम्हाला चेक करायला नाही येणार आहे ना की तुम्ही हे खरंच केलंय का नाही. तर यू शुड जस्ट बिल्ड द स्टोरीज. ओके, जस्ट ॲज अ इनसाइडर थिंग आय एम टेलिंग की तुम्ही ते केलेलंच आहे, ते काही पाहायला कोणी येणार नाही आहे, राईट? सो just make sure you have very good stories around these and you should be able to defend those stories. Okay, so next one is insist on the highest standards. Okay, just read this carefully. Okay, it's not written as high standards or higher standards. It is written as the highest standards. So Amazon expects that every employee should deliver the highest standard of code or the work which he or she is doing. So while having a random chat with the interviewer, you can tell actually that I always make sure that code is of my production quality. I don't like to compromise on the quality, let it be small assignment or a project. I urge my project mates to meet my standards and then only I merge the code. Okay. So जरी तुम्ही हे केलं नसेल तरी पण तुम्ही सांगायचं आहे, त्याच्यामुळे तुमचं impression is चांगलं पडेल, right? Then at Amazon there is a concept called code reviews, CR. Okay, that is called as code review. Few companies call it as PR. uh, uh, okay, pull request. Some at Amazon it is called as code review request. So at Amazon, every code review, every CR has to be approved by at least 2 members, then only it goes to production. So you should tell that in my project, I do proper code review of my teammates, and then only I allow the code to go into the final project. This will this will indicate actually you are insisting on the highest standards. Next one is dive deep. Okay, so for any work, any technology, if you like to deep dive into it, that's the uh, that's really a good thing, right? So you should actually tell a story where you had to deep dive into some code or technology to solve something. You should prepare some instance of this, and you should prepare the answer for this. Make sure you use the word dive deep. The one the there was one word I own, right? The same way you have to say dive deep. Even if you write your answer and just tell the interview, okay, let me deep dive into this for a moment, and then I will. Then you get 100% marks for this leadership principle. So make sure you use this word deep, dive deep. Next one is strive to be Earth's best employer. Again, this is for leadership. This is not actually for an individual employee, but let's say as an internship candidate, you get converted to full-time employee, and then eventually you become a leader. So as a top level leader, you have to make your organization the best employer, which attracts good talent, which treats its people well, right? So that's why this leadership principle is introduced. So you can just say, okay, I have always tried to be the best student or kid or the employee. If you have done some internship or some job earlier, or if you did some freelancing, then just say, okay, I always try to give the best to my customer. Okay. And just say, okay, I want to give the best in the field of computer science and make the impact on millions of lives through technology. So this kind of things will cover this leadership principle. Next one is deliver results. If you just talk, nothing is going to happen, right? If you deliver results, then only your code matters. Okay, so just say, okay, I like to deliver results than just blabbering something. I'm a firm believer that if there are results, then only the work is done. Otherwise, work is like 0 or 1. If the code is serving the purpose, if it is in production, then only your work is done. Even if your code is 95% and if it is not into live production, it is like 0 work. So that that ideology Amazon follows. Next one is have backbone, disagree, and commit. This is quite a standard. Definitely you will come across this question. The interviewer will give you the situation. If you and your teammates or manager have some difference of opinions, then what will you do? Okay, they might ask you, okay, did you have any instance where you had different opinion than your project mate, right? So that time you should say, okay, I'll be data driven. Amazon likes this word, data driven. Okay, you should definitely use this word, data driven. And so this is how you will answer to this question. I will take a data driven approach. I will explain with the past data why my approach is better than theirs. Okay, I will try to convince them, and if they get convinced, that's a win for me. If they don't accept, if the majority of my project mates are not accepting my solution, then I would have to rethink on my solution. Okay, but I will go with the decision of the majority. See, in a real world, when you go to any company, there will be a lot of differences of opinions. But if you are stuck on your approach and there are a bunch of people which are suggesting another approach, then there will be a problem, right? So that's why you should actually disagree. Okay, I disagree, but since majority of you are agreeing to this, I commit to this, right? This is as simple as that. Next one is frugality. ओके, फ्रुगॅलिटी म्हणजे मराठीमध्ये कंजूसपणा. ओके, सिम्पल वर्ड्स मध्ये फ्रुगॅलिटी म्हणजे कंजूसपणा. ओके, सो when Amazon they actually founded the organization, you might have seen Jeff Bezos older days. So to save the cost, what they did, they went to some scrap shop of wooden doors. They took that scrap from them, and they created the tables, the desks, using those scrap material of the doors. And this is how frugality came into existence as the leadership principle at Amazon. And Amazon claims that due to frugality, it has reached to these heights now. So obviously, as a employee or as an intern, you will have to show some frugality. So you can give the instance like this. For example, if you needed some higher configuration PC or server to serve your purpose, let's say you were developing some website for your technical fest, and you knew that there will be a lot of requests. So, and your server was quite of low quality. So instead of going and purchasing new server, you can say I actually use 2 computers as servers, and then I wrote a load balancer which actually used to divide the request among these 2. Okay, that's like frugality. So because you have showed the कंजूसपणा आणि तुम्ही ते ऍक्च्युली परचेस नाही केलं आहे आणि तुम्ही जे ऑलरेडी होतं त्याच्यामध्येच तुम्ही एक चांगलं काहीतरी सर्व केलं. सो दॅट इज फ्रुगॅलिटी अँड यू शुड गिव्ह सच इन्स्टन्स इफ यू हॅव or you can make up. Okay, then you should tell that you are a believer of a small team for the project. So actually in all my webinars I always tell that for a project you should actually have either a single person or max of 2 people. What happens nowadays, like if project is done by 4 people, right, at least only 2 people will work. One will make a documentation and one will just present it. He will not work anything, right? It happens in most of the cases. So make sure you have very less number of members in your project, and you should say, okay, you are a believer of a small team. And so generally this question can be asked when they say, okay, do you have any questions for me? That time you can say, okay, what is a typical team size at Amazon? How many members are there? I actually prefer less number of people so that responsibilities will be more and work done will be more. So that kind of stuff. Okay, so all these were leadership principles which are relevant to the internship or the SDN positions, right? So next one is there are few very good resources. You can actually consume these resources and make your preparation to the next level. One YouTube channel is Algorithm Every Day by Vivekananda Khade. Okay, he is again a Marathi person, but very good content. The solutions of the problems are really good. The explanations are quite good. If out of the 46 problems which I told, most of the problem solution you might find on this channel. If you are still on a basic level of data structure and algorithms, I will suggest this channel, My Code School, where sorting algorithms, merge sort and other stuff is explained pretty well. So you can actually check this channel if you want to build your fundamentals strong. Now next very good resource is LeetCode. When you go to LeetCode platform, it's a paid version and premium version, right? Sorry, paid version and free version. In free version, you can see, okay, top interview, you can see top interview questions and top 100 liked questions. These are free. These top interview questions are around 145 questions, which are generally asked by all the product-based companies, and top 100 like questions. So if you solve these 2, you will be good enough. Good, not good, actually more than good. The next one is if you want to invest some money, then you can purchase the LeetCode Premium. And inside that, if you can see here, there is a lock, right? Top Amazon questions, there is a lock here. If you have premium subscription, this will be unlocked and you can solve the top Amazon interview questions. The LeetCode Premium membership costs around 10,000 for a year and it is worth taking. Next one, very good resource, Gigs for Gigs. If you go to this URL, gigsforgigs/tax/Amazon, you will see all the past interview experiences of Amazon. So you need to go through all the interviews for internship positions and SD1 positions. Once you finish all this, just pick up like five interview experiences. Make sure you can solve all of those problems. doubts, whatever is asked, because most of the times the questions do get repeated. So you shouldn't miss any question. If you are picking 5 interview experiences, make sure you follow them all. Okay, so this was about data structure, algorithms, and leadership principles. If there are any doubts, we can take, otherwise we'll move ahead. Okay, no questions. I haven't seen the chat, but fine. We'll take the questions at the end. See, this you saw from the angle of the interviewer, not interviewee. Okay. Now let's turn the table. What happens at the interviewer side who takes your interview, right? So there will be around 3 to 4 rounds for internship position. Each and every round will be completely on data structures, algorithms, your coding skills, and leadership principles. At Amazon or any top product based company, nobody will ask you theoretical question. Okay, tell me how JVM works. No, nobody will ask you that. Only data structures and algorithms and the coding skills. That's all. So see, this happens at the back end. When you appear for Amazon interview, right? The interviewer will always he will keep taking the notes. Like the amount of letters he will be writing will be more than what you write in the solutions. They will be keep taking notes. And the details are of such granular level, you will actually be surprised. This happens only on Amazon, in none of the other companies. So they will be noting down, okay, when the question was fired, at what time the question was fired, and when the first answer came up, and what was the complexity of that solution. That's why I say, whenever they ask some clarifying questions, and then say, okay, this is my brute force approach, but I know this is of higher complexity. So immediately you tap on that turnaround time, okay, because your solution will be quite quick. Then interviewer will give you some hints. Okay, you can make solution much better. You can reduce the complexity here. Okay, these hints you should catch, and how did you pick up the hints? He will note it down. Then when the optimal solution was proposed by you, that will be noted down. That time will be noted down. That's why I said, whenever they ask you a question, you tell the brute force approach, and with some hints, you give the most optimal one. First, you should discuss that, so that this time will be noted when you actually answer the question. Then the he will note down the time when you started the coding. The moment you start writing the code, how much time you actually took to finish that code with correctness. Everything will be noted down. Okay, and if there were issues or corrections in the existing code, what hints he gave to correct you, and how did you correct. So all those things will be noted down. And the most important, leadership principles. What leadership principles did the candidate show? Make sure, like, just remember, they will not be asking you, okay, I'm asking about this leadership principle. They will just figure out in the normal discussion. After all this happens, all the interviewers will gather in a room, and this is called as a debrief. So all interviewers will give the feedback. Okay, this candidate was good, he could solve this. They will even discuss the questions, the complexities of your solution. Everything will be discussed. And when you get go ahead from all of them, then only you actually get selected. So even if one interviewer is not happy with you, you are gone. You don't get selected. So make sure you impress each and every interviewer. Then there could be some bar raiser or managerial round, and bar raiser or managerial round will be mostly on the behavioral questions. For example, leadership principles. He will ask you some instance of that and this, right? So this is how the interview process will look like. Now, few points to note. As I already told you, will tell brute force approach, then the most optimal one, you will tell the complexity. Let's say you don't know the solution at all. What will you do? Okay, so never give up. Always Even if you are not getting, try to come up with at least some brute force approach. Then try to catch the hints of the interviewer, what hints he is giving. See, there is actually quite when you see on the higher level, right? That is quite a like a fixed pattern for this. If there is array problem, then either it can be solved using by sorting and using some kind of binary search or something like that, right? If it is kind of a graph problem, then DFS or BFS will be the solution, right? So this is like a pattern. There is a pattern for all these questions. So you should make sure what pattern you can fit into the solution. You just try to memorize, okay, what patterns are there, and based on that you give the solution. This is how you will come up with a solution even for the unknown problem. Okay, now let's say if you get selected at Amazon for internship, this internship is for 6 months. Now you want to be full timer at Amazon, then what extra efforts you should take? Okay, so you should talk to your manager beforehand. Let's say you get the acceptance for the internship. Immediately you should talk to HR and ask which team you will be allocated to, get the number or the contact, get the email ID of that manager, and ask him what technologies are used. Mostly it will be Java and few AWS technologies. So before joining Amazon, you make sure you are thorough with Java and the AWS technologies which are being used in your team. You should be thorough with Git, how to pull the code, how to push the code, how to revise any commit, everything you should be quite thorough with. You should know the pipelines. See, pipelines is Amazon's product, pipelines.amazon.com. It is the CI/CD pipeline. CI/CD stands for continuous integration and continuous deployment. Your code should go to production on a continuous basis. That is the continuous deployment part. So there is a pipeline for that. If you get some resources to read about pipelines, then just make sure you are reading those before joining Amazon. Once you join Amazon, make sure you are voicing your opinions, giving suggestions, taking interest in the project. Okay, just don't be a shy guy. You should voice your opinions, okay, in a good faith, not to cross the manager. Okay, keep showing your willingness to be Amazon as a full-timer. You should continuously keep discussing with your manager that how can I improve in this 6 months so that I can get a full-time opportunity. I'm quite interested at Amazon. I'm quite enjoying the work. Okay, those kind of things. You should always do more than expected. Just don't be satisfied with whatever you are doing. Always do 10-20% extra. Write a clean code at Amazon. Less number of CR revisions should be there. If CR has lot of mistakes, then CR revisions increase. The time of the engineer goes into rectifying the changes, in suggesting the changes. So overall, team's performance can go down. So your CR should be such that it has very less number of corrections. If you are following these all these things, then definitely you can get full-time opportunity at Amazon. Okay, what happens next week if you get rejected? Okay, Amazon is not the only good place. Okay, there are very good place, even better than Amazon. My first experience with Microsoft and Intel has been quite amazing. Microsoft and Intel are like one of the best places to work for. So there are companies like Microsoft, Walmart, Atlassian, GitHub, LinkedIn, VMware, Flipkart, Cisco, Nvidia, Adobe, Google. These are all good companies. You can apply, you can prepare more, and you can apply for these companies also. In Pune, you can find Nvidia, VMware, Amazon, and Cisco. Not sure Cisco whether it's there or not. Okay, but most of the good product-based companies are in Hyderabad or in Bangalore. So let's say if you are still interested in Amazon, then after rejection, you should write an email to HR, okay, saying, thanks for this opportunity. I got to learn a lot from the interviewers. Interviewers were really good. And I have found my lack of preparation where I am lacking. And I'll be improving on this and I'll be applying after 6 months. Amazon has a cool down of 6 months. After 6 months, you can reapply. So HR will be quite happy. Okay, you are keeping touch in the HR, and after 6 months, you can apply for SD1 position. Keep preparing meanwhile, take lead code premium if possible, keep solving the problems and apply after 6 months. Okay, so that's all from my side. Okay, so I actually run a YouTube channel which is to empower Maharashtrian students, because in Maharashtra there is quite a lack in understanding of various exams and many things, right? So I run a YouTube channel where I upload videos regarding educational stuff. My aim is to empower Maharashtrian students in the education field. So this is my channel. Make sure you subscribe this channel. If you want to thank me, just please subscribe to this YouTube channel. There is amazing content on that. And the PPT will be shared on this Telegram channel. Go to Telegram and just search Learn from IITN. The link will be given in the description of the video also, which I have uploaded to my channel. And I'll share the PPT and other links with that. Okay, so let me show you some glances of the YouTube channel. If you have siblings or if you know someone who is in high school or engineering, okay, there are videos for everybody. The today's video, this is the one, how to prepare for Amazon 50 must-do questions. The same presentation I have already uploaded. I will share the links with all, or just go and say learn from IIT and Ganesh Patil. You will see the first link in the search. You have very good content like how you can prepare for IIT JEE and NEET without coaching, or how you can start your IIT JEE preparation early if you have siblings, or if you know someone who is in high school standard. For them, this is very, very good video. There are a lot of exams which high school student can target, and it will help in the engineering and medical entrances like NTS exam, NDA exam. Okay, all these videos are there. Then how you can do MBBS in Russia and many other useful videos. As an engineering graduate, you must see this video. This was the webinar I had given in the PVG College of Engineering, and this is must watch webinar for engineering students. Make sure you check this out. Let me see if I can give the link to this video in the chat box itself. And now we can actually take the questions. Okay, I'm pasting that in the chat. To everyone. Okay, I hope you have received it. Okay, so shall I stop sharing my screen and then take the questions? I can't hear anybody.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. I don't know how sharing is. Okay, fine. We can take the questions if there are any. Okay, I can see chat window here. Okay, Yash Talele, is there any crash course for yours or suggestions on YouTube channel? I have already given the suggestions about the YouTube channel. Okay, as of now, I haven't made any content on DS and algos. Only few webinars are there. I will share if I do conduct. Is there any crash course? Sir, Amazon is hiring BE mechanical student for senior compliance associate, non-technical role. The important points you mentioned in this lecture are for interview of coding role or non-coding role. This was specifically for coding roles. I don't think for non-technical roles they will be asking the coding interviews, coding questions. So, so just make sure you are still doing the leadership principles. That will be really good. Okay, I'm just checking if there are any other questions. Okay, fine. Okay, there are. Sir, what's think SAP versus IT professional? See, SAP is like a module, a specific module like SAP ABAP or some modules, right? If there is somebody who is assuring you a job with SAP module, that's okay. Ultimately, you are going into IT only. But if you are a computer science student, make sure you just go into plain software development roles. That will be good. Can we switch our career paths in future or change technology domain? See, it's quite possible. Changing technology domain is very easy. When I was at Intel, it was C. When I was at VMware, it was Python. When I was at Amazon, it was Java. Now I am at Microsoft, it is C Sharp and Azure. So technologies keep changing. That's not a concern, but you should be thorough with fundamentals, which is data structures, algorithms, and coding. And about career path, right? See, career path are multiple. If you see my webinar on the my YouTube channel, you will really good insights about the career path. See, if you want to move away from the technical stuff, if you want to go into management or PM role, you will have to do MBA, and then you can actually go into that path. If you are computer science, you are a just normal software developer, you want to go into data science or artificial intelligence, you can do some online course and you can switch there. So it is possible, but make sure you do that as early as possible. If you have like 5 years of experience, then changing might be very difficult. Now, can you brief about interview experience at Intel? What should be an ENTC prepare to go on Intel in the software development role? Okay, very good question. See, I got Intel from the campus. Okay, when I was at IIT, I got through campus placements. In campus placements, Intel is the company which comes immediately in the second day itself, because many ENTC and electrical people also apply there. So the interviews, if you are from ENTC background, they will ask you questions based on the VLSI coding or I'm not sure. In my webinar, I have listed down few topics which I don't remember now. But make sure you are doing those topics. But as a off campus, I'm not very sure what kind of questions they will be asking. But in the campus, it was actually easier for me. They just asked some binary search tree problem and some array problem. Only 2 interviews were there, and after that, immediately managerial round was there. Okay, how to approach the company employee for referral? Again, in my webinar, I have mentioned I have explained this, but again I'm repeating. See how see when you approach some employee, right? If he refers you and if you get that job, he will be getting the referral bonus. Referral bonus ranges from 50,000 to 1 lakh. So anybody will be happy to refer you. Only thing is he needs assurance that if he is referring, nobody else is referring. Otherwise, it will cancel out the referral bonus. So approach some people on LinkedIn, telling, okay, I'm actually interested in this particular role. Okay, before approaching, you should actually see the job portal on that company's portal, okay, and find out the relevant job IDs which matches your interest or your qualifications, your experience level. It's not like you are just a fresher and you are applying for a 2 years experience job. No, that will not be allowed. So you make sure you find out those openings, and on LinkedIn you drop a message to that employee saying I'm interested in these roles as it matches my experience or skills level, and I'm approaching you and nobody has referred me in this company before. I'm approaching you for the first time in this company, so could you please refer me? And with this assurance, I'm pretty sure 50% of the people will actually refer you. But make sure you are writing good content over it. Just don't say, okay, are there any openings in your company? Please refer me. No, this is not the right way. Find out the job openings, give the job opening. These are the open positions. Please refer me against these positions. What should be the path for second year student, computer programming and contests? Okay, I have, again, I think I should take the webinar in your college as well. Okay, see, computer programming and contests. Contests is like a sport. Okay, and interviews are like yoga. If you play sports, definitely your body will be flexible. You can do yoga. But what is the ultimate aim, on what basis you are getting evaluated, is yoga. Okay, let's say it's a yoga contest and interviews are like yoga. So you have actually options whether you want to go for contests like those direct eye websites are there, right? And ICPC and a lot of other contests are there. But if your focus is interviews, then actually there is no need to do the contest. Just go to lead code, solve the interview problem. That is enough. Why you are playing sports and then giving the yoga exam? That is actually not required. But if you enjoy sports, the contest, then you should go. And what is the path for second year student, right? So second year student, again, very good. I think I should definitely share this link, because there I have clearly told what should be the path. Very good question. There was a very good question by one student. You should check it out. There was same question. He was second year student and he asked me this question. So see, as a second year student, you should see if you want to go for higher education or placements, and you should divert your plan accordingly. What online certifications are legitimate? There is actually no need of online certification. You are engineering graduate, so certification actually don't carry any value. Can a working professional with quality assurance or non-development in product company go to core development role? What are the challenges? Yes, quality assurance person can also go, provided you are very good at data structures and algorithms. Keep applying to the product-based companies. Even if it is a small startup, that's okay. You go to the startup first and then apply to the MNCs. Yes, it is possible. Just make sure you do some project which are end to end. You have very good development experience, and you should be able to show the experience in your resume. You should be able to talk about it in the interview. Very good at data structures and algorithms. You can definitely go to the product based companies. Does pursuing masters matter that much for a CS student? Again, the same answer I have given in my webinar. Okay, if your ultimate aim is to go for job, right, that is actually not very much required. Okay, because you can go to some company, prepare DS algos properly, and then move to product based companies. But if you have feeling that you should get some IIT tag, then you should go for masters, because after masters your life will be much easier in terms of getting calls from top companies. Your placements will be good. So in that aspect, you can actually go for masters. Otherwise, just for job, it is not much required. Guidance for Azure. Again, Microsoft has very good documentation about Azure. Even I'm not very comfortable. It has been 1.5 years. I haven't worked much on the Azure technologies, but there is very good documentation and YouTube resources. what to prepare for core CS subjects like DBMS, CNI. Okay, very good question. When you go for companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Flipkart, they will not care about these subjects at all. They will not be even one subject on DBMS, CN or OS. Okay, all questions will be only on data structures and algorithms. But when you go for service-based companies like TCS, Cognizant, Infosys, Accenture, there will be theoretical questions on these subjects. Okay, what are your favorite subjects? So I will say, okay, computer networks and operating system. Then again, in operating system, they will ask, okay, what is Peterson's solution and other stuff, right? What is multi-threading, how that works and other stuff. But in the top product-based companies, there won't be even a single question. Only in terms of DBMS, I will say, know what is SQL versus NoSQL database. Okay, that is one. Just watch some YouTube video, you will get understanding. Any video or book suggestion to clear all technical concepts. Okay, I will say first thing, the plan which I gave, the workshop list, that is the first to go. Second is the 46 problems which I gave. Okay, you just follow that order, take any resources and complete that. If you are, if you like the book mode, which I definitely don't like, I don't like to read books. I like to consume resources which are like video on demand or Udemy and other stuff. Okay, reading books feels quite boring to me. There was a book by Narasimha Karamunchi, which I had purchased when I was at IIT, because that time YouTube and other medias were not so prevalent. I had purchased that book, very good book, DS and Algos by Narasimha Karamunchi. Make sure it is in the language in which you want to appear in your interviews, like Java or C, right? So make sure that, very good book. He was the MTech graduate from IIT Bombay. And another book is by Gally Lackman, Cracking the Coding Interview. This is again a very good book. She was Google employee and she had actually conducted a lot of technical interviews. Very, very good book, but purchase it only when you want to go for very top companies like Google, Uber, Facebook. That time only you need to purchase, otherwise actually not required, but you can get PDF freely somewhere. What skills and technologies? Okay, sorry, I missed one. How to get started? How to get started making projects? Okay. Very good question, actually. See, when you actually do one project end to end, then only you will get the feel of entire software development life cycle. So there are courses on Udemy, which costs around, like, let's say 500 rupees, worth investing. That course is by E-Loop. I don't remember exact name, but I'll share on my Telegram channel. Make sure subscribe to that channel. That on that channel, I will share that. So the instructor has completed one entire web development, web application, right from front end, back end, all the technologies are involved there. So you follow that course. That is one very good solution. There are also other Java-based projects. If you search in Udemy, there are few, but the one which I told, it's very good. It has almost 5 rating across all. Like, there are a lot of reviews. It's very good. I haven't done personally, but I have heard and read about the reviews. And another resource is the Odin project. I heard it's free. I have seen the website. They have given a complete plan. If you like to read and then do, that is the very good resource. The Odin project. Again, in my webinar at PBG, I have told all these things. Okay, you can check that out. What skills and technologies are essential for becoming a software developer? Okay, skills, DS, algos, writing clean code, Technologies, not much required. Since you are a fresher, you are expected to know nothing about technologies. Technologies differ with companies. At Amazon, they are different. At Microsoft, there are different. So you don't have to worry about technologies at this point. Just be very thorough with DS algos and the projects which you are doing. How to prepare for aptitude? Pankaj Gandhi classes. Okay. I remember after my third year, when I was at HGS Nanded, I did that classes, the crash course. It was very good. Another resource is R.S. Agarwal book, R.S. Agarwal quantitative book. That is very good book. Next one is development required for product-based company. Development in the sense, if you have developed some projects in your student life, it is good to show. Obviously, you should show. But in the interviews, they will be asking you only DSL goals, and so they will just see, okay, whether you have aptitude for development or not. But they will not expect you that you have written some e-commerce project or something like that. Okay. Just be very good with DSL goals. Okay, fine. End of the questions. If I would have missed something, then please, can mechanical engineer student